Hello all. Today is an unboxing of something that I have just purchased. And we'll take a look and see if it is what I believe it is. It is from Trade Me, I believe, because it is a New Zealand courier mail. So, yeah. Let's just dump it out of its box, out of the package. There we go. And it is in a very plain cardboard box with very minimal text on it to tell us what's in the box. And within it is, well, there's a manual. It's just pretty basic on how to use it. And here is the device itself. Now, what you're wondering this is pretty basic. It's a nothing under there. Okay, it's a floppy disk drive that has USB capability. So it means I just plug that into my computer and it should recognize a USB device has been plugged in. Okay, so I'm just going to plug it into my computer. And it notified me that a device just got plugged into the computer. I'll just close that drive, and it shows up as a floppy disk drive A. So, I'll just put a picture in the video. So if I click on it, please insert a disk or floppy disk drive into A. Okay, so it does say that if I want to use it, I've got to install a disk into it. So, yeah. And the instruction manual isn't really anything to go over. It's pretty basic, so I'm going to wait until I get my floppy disks. Obviously, floppy drives aren't made anymore because they aren't a common thing used within tech these days. They're a very retro thing. And don't mind the traffic, but yeah. The construction of the thing's quite nice. It's quite heavy, so it won't easily slide around when I move that. I'm going to leave it up there and plugged in to my computer. And I'll probably use this as a portable drive. I probably will have to if I want to use it on my Linux laptop, which is just sitting up behind me doing a update of its OS. It's been needing to do that for some time now. But I hope to do some stuff with that. Maybe like you could run a game off of the some sort of very small game from a floppy disk. And I like the idea of just having a bit of retro stuff, and if some reason I find some floppy disks with stuff on them I can always recover them from the floppy disk. Or say a computer that only has floppy drives as the only way to, because some computers obviously predate USB formats and all that sort of stuff. They just had floppy disks because no one had thumb drives, or back in the day these little things were so expensive that most people didn't opt in to even have USB. But now it's a very cheap format, but yeah. Not really much to it. I'm going to, since my computer does have the drivers, so oh well, I will continue this review once I have some floppy disks. I have got a new old stock 10 pack of floppy disks that should work in this. It should be a 3.5 millimeter drive. I believe it is. Not millimeters, I'd say inches or something. But it's a 3.5, I believe. And that's what I ordered. If not, well, I just ordered the wrong size of floppies. But it looks to be about the same size. So if all goes well, I should just be able to slot a floppy disk straight into the thing and have a go at using it. With that all said, folks, see you in the next part. So, they've arrived. These have not been open since I purchased them. Well, since they were manufactured, more or less. So it's a 10 pack of 1.44 megabytes. Let's see if I could even get these to work. So they look quite nice. Packet's quite good. This has not been opened since they were manufactured. So let's do this. I have no idea if these will work. So yeah, these are still, this is obviously old new stock. So these have not been touched since they were made. So this gives me the bestest chance of them of anything working. I'm going to keep this box in mint condition, although it's been banged up by over the years, probably being in stock in a shelf. But there we go. Here's the floppy disks. Okay, I'm going to do this. And the disc inside looks alright. I think it goes this way, if I remember right. So, camera up here. There's the floppy disk drive. I'll bring it down here actually, where we can see it. So, last one we unboxed a floppy disk reader, and yeah, let me just get the camera out of the way. So, gonna plug it in first. It's USB 2.0 or 1.0, either way. Obviously back then they didn't have a lot of bandwidth, so it won't need too much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this and bring up the file explorer, as I'll bring it up in full screen. And so where is floppy drive? Normally shows up here somewhere. Let me just make sure it's plugged in. So I'll disconnect it. There we go, there's the floppy disk drive. And it's plugged in. Let's see if it'll oh, it's making a noise. It's loading. That's classic noise, that is. Copying. It's doing something. Oh, there we go. We loaded something to a floppy disk. Ha! That's awesome. So it's showing there being a, yeah. Well, so there's the, yeah, there we go. So that is a file loaded to a floppy disk. It's just a small WAV file, obviously only a few kilobytes in size. And this is 1.44 megabytes each. So you can fit a bit. I'm going to try and fit something else on there while I've got a chance to. Let's try and fit a photo on there. This PNG floppy drive. It's obviously going to take a moment or two because these things aren't exactly designed for speed. And there we go. One photo onto a floppy drive. There we go. So these are very small things, but you could obviously fit a bit of stuff. What I'm going to try and do is fit a whole bunch of memes. So let me just go like this. Oh, that's a GIF. They'll be probably a lot larger than what these are being designed for. So let's try 8 files. And exactly. Okay, cancel. Obviously, it's way more than it can handle. Let's just try this very simple picture here. It's one picture. And it's going, done. So you can fit files of a certain size onto these, but do remember this is just 1 megabyte. Even this little tiny SD card, I can fit entire hours of music, videos, and other stuff on. And just as size comparison, grab one of the other floppies out. That's how big it is. That's an SD card with its carrier in it. Just to make it more obvious, that's the SD card. It literally can fit in the gap, obviously, of the actual protector for the... Yeah. So that just shows you how small these are. And how great we've gotten at data compression and size. But definitely, I think these things are really neat. Like, there's no doubt about them. They definitely got that retro feel to them. It makes a noise when you power it up. It makes a very recognizable tone, and it works. They still work. You know? There's the stuff. And it just takes, it looks like it's going to take itself a bit of time, and bingo, there we go. To bring up a single file like that. So, overall, floppy disks. They still work in 2022. If you can get your hands on any. I don't think anyone manufactures them anymore. I have seen them on AliExpress for like $45 a pack. So I would say if you can get them from there, just be a little dodgy if they may or may not work. I don't know if they're brand new or not. So yeah, I got these ones from a Trade Me seller here in New Zealand. So I got these locally. I thought it'd be the bestest chance of getting some to me intact. And yeah, I'd say they're made probably in China, maybe. Unformatted 0.2 megabytes. Formatted for IBM is 1.44. And reformatted to Apple is 1.40 megabytes. So, if you're seeing this, let me bring the camera back up to full size so you guys can see the package. There we go. Yeah, Data Life MF2 HD. Yeah. So, if anyone, yeah, so they're 3.5 inch floppy disks. So these are the most common size that I've found out was a thing. And this is what that floppy drive was made for. Overall, really awesome piece of retro tech. I always wanted to try out using a floppy to store something on. The only problem with them is magnets. So keep your neodymiums and other magnets away from these. So I'm probably going to put these somewhere. I'm just going to be not going to get magnets near them because it could permanently damage them. And if you've got any data on, like this one, yeah, there's a little spot where you could put a sticker on, which I probably will put a couple stickers on these. Yeah, I don't know the life expectancy of these, like if they're kept in a really clean environment, like, put them in a nice little box or drawer or somewhere, they probably will last a fair while, And I don't know what they're like made of their own film material. So as long as these were kept in a nice clean environment and you're using them just like, occasionally, I think they're pretty cool. Overall, really cool piece of retro tech. And just for everyone else, let's just put it back in there, and I'll put my microphone close enough so you can hear it. There you go. There's the sound of a floppy disk reading and writing information. And that's a very classic sound. It sounds kind of like a printer. Is the best way to describe that. Overall, these readers only cost, I think I've said in the past, $30 New Zealand. You can probably do the math on current exchange rates. So these you can find them everywhere. The one I got was pretty much unbranded. It's just a very generic box if you look at the rest of the video. Yeah, they work, but not that much space on them. Overall, I'd call this a pretty cool item, and definitely retro factor of 100. To say that, you can see the size of storage, how far it's gone down to now these days. But for anyone, you could easily fit a few files on this. I'm going to try and probably load a music file onto one at some point, just for the heck of it. But yeah, oh well. You have a brilliant day, everyone, and see us all around.